All right, we are in geometry, lesson 8-10. We are 2 lessons away from finishing this entire unit. We have 8-11 tomorrow on Wednesday, then we go skiing, and then we have our last quiz of the entire unit on Friday. So just know that we have a quiz on Friday, and the quiz is going to be based on this, yes. Quiz will be online. Quiz will be online, it will be due on Monday. I'll put in the grades on Monday. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Don't cheat. All right, 8-10, circles from an expanded equation. Today's date is Tuesday, March 19th. And yeah, we have a difficult lesson ahead of us. Let's go ahead and get started. Standard equation of a circle. I'm asking this over and over again because you need to have it memorized. Standard equation of a circle is what? Quiet raised hand. I see only 2 hands. Just look at your warm-up. Quiet raised hand. Standard equation of a circle. And again, if you have your card, you're raising your card in your hand. Sam, go for it. Thank you, Sam. You got your marble, you got your XP, and you can turn in your card. We can consider it, yeah. Maybe we can use that as a power or something. All right, this equation is really, really nice because I can immediately tell where the center is. These 2 parts of the equation on the left-hand side will tell me the center. The stuff on the right tells me the radius. But what happens if they give us an equation that is not nice? That's what we're dealing with today. We need to somehow get to this equation that you have now got some experience with. Some people have mastered it, some people are still working with it. We need to get something that looks like this and turn it into something that looks like this. That is all of today's lesson. If you can graph a circle, or if you can at least know what the center and the radius is from the expanded form, then you are ready for today's lesson. So we have all this stuff. We have 2 examples. We're ready to go. All right, so I just want to show you what expanded form even means. So start with this standard equation, where the center is what? Quiet raised hand. What is the center of this standard equation on this first line? The center of this equation, only 2 people know. We just did some review for the warm-up. What is the center on this line? I'm waiting for more hands. Beverly. 1, 2, exactly. Because I take the opposite of this, 1, 2. Beverly, you can turn in your card. What is the radius of that equation? What is the radius of this equation? Beverly's marble is in. Yeah, Ellery. 3, exactly. It's the thing that is the square root of this thing. So if I take the square root and square cancel each other out, and the radius would have been 3. So Ellery, your marble is in. Your XP has been given. All right, so what happens if I square this x minus 1? It turns into x squared minus 2x plus 1. And this is where I'm going to lose over half of you. How did I get from here to here? That's the question. And the answer is coming from completing the square. I'm going to go forwards, and we're going to have to go backwards also today. We're going forwards and backwards. I'm going to go forwards. Let's look at the example x minus 3 quantity squared. Everyone start writing. On the top, you have x minus 3. Because x minus 3 squared is really the same thing as, you don't have to write this down if you don't want this upper stuff. You are going to fill in this box though. X minus 3 times x minus 3. So I'm going to write x minus 3 on the top, and I'm going to write x minus 3 on the left. You do need to start filling in this box now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the rows by the columns. So this row times this column, what is x times x? Quiet raised hand. We're going to get a ton of XP here. X times x, Brian. X squared. X squared. Brian is in. I'm going to try to fill up this jar. I want a pizza party really bad. Brian is in. What is x times negative 3 for this box right here? X times negative 3. Quiet raised hand. X times negative 3. I see 2 hands. 3 hands. X times negative 3. Colby, go for it. Negative 3x. Colby is in. He has his marble in. He has his XP. All right, what about the other direction? If I do x times negative 3, x times negative 3, what do I put in for, oh gosh, what just happened? What do I do for this box right here? Oh, why is it lagging? What do I do for this box right here? We still have the same people over and over. I'm going to try to get everyone in today. Aurelio, say it again. It is indeed the same thing. Aurelio, you can turn in your card. It is negative 3x. It is the same thing. These two are the same thing. All right, so Aurelio, you are in Classroom Dojo. There you are.
Wait, negative 6?
Why is it not clicking? There we go. Participating. All right, and Aurelio, your marble is in. And then finally, what is a negative 3 times a negative 3 for this bottom right box? Negative 3 times a negative 3, Caroline, is a 9. You can turn in your card. There is your marble. There is your XP. Caroline, you are in. All right, so far we have this box. This is exactly what I did to get from here to here. What I did was I square the first, square the first, square the first. I squared the first term, and I got x squared. I squared the last term to get this last term. Negative 3 times negative 3 was a positive 9. I squared the last term to get positive 1. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. The hard bit comes from this middle section. The middle section is I multiply the first and last. What is x times negative 1? Negative 1x. I multiply the first and last to get negative 1x, and then I double it. Negative 1x, double that, I get negative 2x. You don't have to remember what I just said, but you do need to know this process of using a box to get from here to here. Give me a fist of 5. How well did you just follow that? How well can you use your own box to get to that square? 5 is, I got it, Mr. Sindel. It's easy. Maybe not easy, but I got it. I know what I'm doing. 1 is what just happened. I just woke up. Wow, I'm seeing 4s and 5s, a few 3s. All right. So we're kind of following. That's what I'm looking for. Which means when I expand this thing, now I add them together. X squared is x squared. I'm adding all of the gray area in this box. X squared plus all the x squareds, there's only 1 x squared. I do have to add these diagonals. Go ahead and draw this line in your notes as well. Draw this line to let you know these diagonals should generally add to each other. Negative 3x plus negative 3x is what? Quiet, raise hand. You get tons of XP. I want that pizza party. Anna. Negative 6x, yes. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is a negative 6, and then they have the x. And then finally I add that 9 at the very end. Anna, your marble is in. Anna, your participation card is in. And your XP is in as well. All right, thank you guys. So, same thing happened for this y minus 2. I square the first. There's the squaring of the first. I square the last. Negative 2 squared is 4. And then finally I multiply y times negative 2. Negative 2y. Once I get negative 2y, I double that. And I get negative 4y. So now you know how to get from our first step to our second step. And obviously 3 squared is 9. Then what I do is I drop the parentheses and add everything. I just add everything. 1 plus 4 turned into a 5. Nothing else changed aside from y squared getting moved a little bit to the left. It just moved. So I get to this line, and then from this third line to the fourth line, all I'm doing is I'm subtracting 9 from both sides. I did minus 9, minus 9. The 9 canceled out, left with 0. 5 minus 9 is a negative 4. So hopefully you get at least a 3 or higher understanding for this entire procedure of getting to the expanded form. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going this direction now. Instead of going from the standard form to the expanded form, we're going from the expanded form to the standard form. That way we can graph it. Because we can't graph this thing. I don't know what that looks like. I can't graph him. I do know how to graph this guy. So we need to get back to him. All right, I need to do another fist of 5. I just added some more stuff. How well are we following me? Out of 5. Fist of 5.
Like a 0.
You're at a 0?
Yeah, I was like...
All right, ask a question. How can I help you
No,
understand?
I think you should just keep going. Because I don't know where to even ask the question.
Okay, if you figure out where to ask the question, feel free to raise that hand and interrupt. All right, I need to teach you guys how to, this is called complete the square. It's a way of going backwards from this table. So instead of giving you the answer, I'm going to leave off this plus 9. I don't know what that number is. All I know is I'm going to have x squared minus 10 x something. Do a box. Write a box in your notes. That's something that I did not give you. It's some unknown number. In fact, by figuring out that number, we are completing this square shape right here. That's where the name comes from. This is a square. We need to complete that square, which is missing right here. All right, I need a quiet raised hand. This is going to be hard, but we're going to get this. Where should I put the x squared? Where should I put this negative 10x? That negative 10x will be tricky. Let's do the x squared first. Ellery?
The x squared should go in the upper left because you're going to have an x to the left hand on top.
All right. Let's make sure that everyone can understand that step. Just modeling off of this left square, x and x to make x squared. Ellery has the first part down. Thank you, Ellery. Everyone write this down in your notes. X and x, just like before. X squared is always going to be in the top left when we're doing this type of lesson. So thank you, Ellery. Your XP is now in. All right, this is the hard part. This negative 10x. Somehow I have to put that, oh yeah, there's a card. India.
So in that box underneath the x on the gray side is going to be negative 5x.
Negative 5x.
And then the box diagonal of that's going to be negative 5x. The
Perfect.
box above that's going to be negative 5. And then the box next to the other negative 5x is going to be negative 5.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to pause there. There's a lot that India just said. Everything that she said, though, is correct. You don't have to erase. So let me come back here, give India her XP, India's marble. Oh man, we're so close to that pizza party. Yes, so the general rule of thumb here is take this negative 10x and divide it by 2. That's what's going to be in the bottom left of the gray square and the top right of the gray square. Just divide it by 2. That gray square. Divide it by 2. Because you need to evenly distribute those x terms, just like this negative 6 was evenly distributed between those negative 3's. All right, and then the final step, this is what will complete the square. We have a square, a gray square here, but it's missing this number. It's missing, literally, these two boxes are the same number. What am I missing? Another quiet raised hand. What is the number to complete the square? I see one hand. 2 hands. Multiply the row by the column. Negative 5 times negative 5. I need to see more hands. I only see 4 hands, 5 hands. Atziri, yeah. It is indeed 25. Thank you, Atziri. Atziri, your XP is in, your marble is in. So that means that if I come back to this box needs to be a positive, so a plus 25. That is how you go backwards. That is how you complete the square. This is the hardest single part of this lesson. If you can go backwards, doing this backwards area, if you give me a 5 out of 5 on that backwards, you know this lesson. The rest is easy. So let me see how well did you follow this part? Going backwards, fist of 5. Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps for all the people that are giving me 5 because that was a hard lesson. If you have a 3, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 3 or above. If you give me a 2 or under, we need to come talk after the lesson. And that's okay. We'll still learn it just a little bit later. Thank you. Okay, you can put your hands down. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be completing the square two times when I have the expanded form. I will do example 1 heavily helping you. The first step here is to rearrange it so I get all the x's and all the y's together. Right now I have an x here and an x here. I'm going to make those and cluster them. I'm going to get them in the same spot. So my first step is to write down x squared minus 14x. Then I'm going to worry about the y's. I'm going to do the y's on the far right-hand side of my page. I'm going to do the y's over here. So the y squared plus 12y. I'm going to group all the x's. I'm going to group all the y's. So on the left-hand side here, I'm going to write what I just did. Group x, group y. What do we do with that number, though? That number we don't want. This 4 we don't want on this side. We only want x's, we only want y's, otherwise it's going to mess us up. We need to move it to the other side. Yeah, India? Yeah, subtract 4 from both sides. So that's going to be our second step. Subtract 4. subtract 4. And now I have a negative 4 on this side and no more 4 right there. Scribble out that 4. Everyone scribble out that 4 with me. Get rid of that 4. It's going to mess us up. Move it to the right-hand side. It is now a negative 4. Make sure you have negative 4 written down in your notes. All right. India got some XP. India got her marble. All right. Now I'm going to complete the square twice. Once for this side, once for this side. So set up your square. Go ahead and everyone draw your square. It can be nice and small. It doesn't have to be too big. There is, I'm going to actually make mine slightly larger. There's my square. All right. I have this information. I need to somehow put those variables, each of these terms, into this square. Ellery and India did it last time. I need someone aside from Ellery and India to help me with this square. So sorry, Ellery, India, I'm going to give someone else the turn. But if you guys are definitely, you girls are definitely our backup if we need you, if we get stuck. So how am I going to fill in this square? It's the exact same procedure with different numbers with this square to the top right. Loria, start us off. Yes, top left is x squared. Everyone write it down. Top left is x squared. And what does that mean about the sides, Loria? Oh, I think you're moving too fast. So I just want this spot and this spot right now. What do we know about those two spots? Yep. X on. Yep, so it should be an x right here and an x right here. Everyone write it down as well. An x above that x squared and an x to the left of that x squared. We're trying to fill in the sides just like we filled in these sides right here. All right, Lorea, your card is in. Lorea, your XP is given. And Lorea, your marble is in. Thank you. Next, what do we do? I see one hand. I see Beverly's hand. What is the next step? This is the tricky bit. This is the trickiest part of all of completing the square. I'm going to give it to Beverly unless someone else wants to give it a shot that has a card.
What if we have to do this? It's not hard.
It is hard. All right, Beverly, go for it. -7 x and -7x. All right, I'm going to pause right there. You're going to do the next part for us to the sides, but I'm going to wait to ask that question. Everyone make sure that you are dividing this -14x evenly between the top right and the bottom left. All Beverly did was divide by 2. And then, Beverly, what do we do next? Perfect. Thank you, Beverly. -7 and -7. Because I have to get -7, because -7 times x is a -7x. So it has to be a -7 on both of those. By the way, these numbers on the side, this x and this -7, have to be the same as this x and this -7. It has to be a square. These sides have to be the same. You can't do 2 and 3. They have to be the same number over and over. That's why it's a square. That's the definition of a square. All right, Beverly, thank you. Your XP is in. Your marble has been given. And then my final step to complete the square. Quiet raised hand. My final step to complete the square. Who's going to do it for us? I see Anna's hand. I will give it to her, but I want to give it to someone that has a card first if you want to give that answer. I'm looking to figure out what that row times the column is to fill in this box. Do row times the column. Martine, you know how to do this? -7 times -7, which is the same thing as 7 times 7, which is 49. Martine, you can turn in your card. You already turned in your card. Oh yeah, for the warm-up, right? And Martine's marble is in. I don't know. All right, we have completed the square, but this is the key part. This is the second hardest thing about this lesson. We just magically added a 49. Everything on the top, everything in this L shape was just this x squared minus 14x. The only thing that we added was this 49. But we're not allowed to just unbalance the equation and add 49 to the left-hand side. I need to also add 49 to the right-hand side. So this bottom right number needs to be added to both sides. So here I go. I'm going to add it to the left-hand side, plus 49. And I'm going to add it to the right-hand side, plus 49. And I'm keeping a running total. I'm going to add another number right here when we complete the square for the y's.
Does it matter if it's positive or negative?
It does, yes. I'm always going to be, and this is true for all completing the square, I'm always going to be adding a positive to both sides because I'm adding a squared number. A squared number, unless you're in complex land, which we're not in yet until pre-calc, or actually algebra 2, it's always going to be a positive number. So we added 49 to both sides. So there's my 49 on the left-hand side, there's my 49 on the right-hand side. Whew, I just did half of the work.
Where?
Half of the work was completing the square for the x's. Now I'm going to complete the square for the y's. The same work again. Question?
What about if it's a negative?
What if I got a negative 49 there?
Can you get a negative?
That is a great question. I'm giving you XP and a marble for that. Ask the question again, one more time.
2 marbles for that question.
2 marbles, sure. Ask the question again, Beverly. Yeah. Someone else answered. If someone else answers this correctly, you get a marble for the class and XP. The question was, can you get a negative in this bottom right-hand side? One person knows the answer. Think about it. It's a cool question. 2 people know the answer. 3 people know the answer.
No.
I'm going to give it a Colby.
No,
Why?
because it's going to be a square number where you can't have 2 different signs.
Right, so it's going to be a square number and therefore it's always positive. What Colby, the extension of that is, so you're either going to have a negative times a negative or you're going to have a positive times a positive. Both of those always result in positives. Yeah, great question, Beverly. Good answer, Colby. You guys are killing it today. Good job. So Colby got 50 and he got another marble for the class. We were getting that much closer to the pizza party. We're trying. Okay, again, we're completing the square. Go ahead and make your square. Make sure that you give yourself enough room on the top and the left to write numbers. I need to hear some new voices. Not everyone has participated yet today. New voices. I'll give everyone 100 XP if everyone participates today. So if you haven't participated, try to participate. I'll give you that extra bonus to everyone. And a marble. I'll do a handful of marbles if everyone gets in.
Gets in what?
If everyone participates.
I thought
Leo, go for it.
The corresponding there is x squared.
Careful.
Or y squared.
Y squared. Yeah, y squared, and therefore the top
Y.
and y. Yeah, Leo, you're awesome. You have your card in. You got your XP. There's your marble. All right, Leo set up the first part of completing the square. Good job, Leo. Next I do what? I'm looking to call on people with cards, but I'll still give it to other people that don't have cards. Cheyenne, go for it. So 12y, what are we going to do with him? So notice what we had up here. We had a negative 14x, and then we did a negative 7x, and negative 7x. Use that same form with the 12y. Yep, so 6y, right there and there, yeah. And then Cheyenne, you're not done yet. You are correct that it is 6y and 6y. What number goes right here, and what number goes right here? It is indeed 6, plus 6, plus 6. The reason that it's 6 is because I have to do y times what is 6y? Well, y times 6 is 6y. Thank you, Cheyenne. Your card is now in. Your XP has been given. Your marble is now in. And my final step, when I complete the square, I need a quiet raised hand. Easy XP. Emily, 36. And Emily, I'm going to stay with you right now. I've done something kind of magical to both sides of the equation. Can you tell me what to do to both sides? I can't just randomly add 36 to the left-hand side. I have to also, yes, I also add it to the right-hand side. So plus 36 right here. We have now completed the square twice to find the standard form of the equation. We're basically out of tricky things. The last little trick that you might encounter is how to actually get this into the standard form. Well, I'm going to take the side of the square. The side of the square is x minus 7. So Jaden, how am I going to get the side of, how is the side of the square going to help me to find this part right here? What do I write right here? X
minus plus. Oh, you already have minus. 49.
Careful, it's the side of the square.
7. Do you want to do the rest of it too?
No.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
This is the side of the square, so this is starting to look more and more like the standard equation. We just did that part. Jaden just filled in the first part of our standard equation. So Jaden, you got another marble. You got some more XP.
I don't think that XP in a while. What level am I?
Jaden, you are level 4. All right. I need someone else to do the next part of the left-hand side of the equation. Here's my equal sign. I need this left-hand side to be filled in. Quiet raise hand. Who wants to do this one? Sam, go for it.
I don't know if it's right though.
Go for it. You still get XP and a marble. Plus.
Parentheses y plus 6 parentheses squared.
Perfect. Everything that you said was perfect. You even told me the parentheses. There it is. She got the plus right. It's always a plus in between for a circle. If it was a minus, then it would be a different type of shape. Y plus 6 squared. Good job, Sam. And there's your marble. You got the XP. And our final bit. I need to add all of these together. Easy XP. Who's going to do it? Sam's ready to do it again. I'll give it to her if someone else doesn't raise their hand. Ellery, go for it. You've been patient.
You have 49 plus 36 minus 4, so you subtract 4 first. It's 45 plus 36, which is 81.
81. Thank you, Ellery. Everyone write 81. All you're doing is adding up those 3 numbers. All right, Ellery's XP is given. Her marble's in there. We're getting closer and closer. All right, we still have not solved this problem because it now gives us the question, what is the center? What is the radius? Well, this is now 2 more people for volunteers. The center. The center is what? Anna.
Positive 7, negative.
It is indeed positive 7, negative 6 because I flip the x, or I take the opposite of the x, take the opposite of the y. We have 7, negative 6. Anna got more XP. Oops. Anna got more XP and another marble. And finally, the radius. Radius. What is the radius, Beverly? The radius is 9 because you did what to 81? Exactly. We square rooted 81 to get the radius of 9. Everyone write it down. That is our final answer. It is a ton of work. That is why this is the hardest lesson of the entire unit. That was a ton of work. All right, give Beverly her XP. Give Beverly her marble. We're so close.
How many marbles in there?
I guess 30. All right, we have example 2 on the back. You need to do example 2 either by yourself or with a group. So I'm going to stop recording right now. You guys are going to be doing this by yourselves or with a group. Complete the square again 2 times. Find the center. Find the radius. All right, so we are back after about 5 to 10-ish minutes. All right, so this one, we can get through this nice and quick. I'm going to add 84 to both sides for my first step, plus 84. Plus 84. So now my right side has 84. I no longer have negative 84. So you gentlemen who didn't get this, I do want you paying attention on this one. So I have already grouped my x's for this problem. It was given to me that way. So when I have my x squared problem, my x's problem, so I have x squared minus 8x on this side, and I have my y squared plus 0. There's nothing over here on my right side. Now when I complete the square, I'm completing the square. I do that by getting my x squared term on the top left. I'm dividing 8x, my negative 8x by 2 to get a negative 4x. Negative 4x, negative 4x. And I know what the sides are now. This has to be x, this has to be x. To get to negative 4x, I have to do x times negative 4. And once I do that, I can finally complete the square by adding negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16. I have now added a 16 to the left-hand side, and I'm now adding a 16 to the right-hand side. I also have to complete the square for my y. So again, this is going to be a little bit trivial to draw a square because I don't really need it. But here it is. I'm going to distribute my y squared, or my y squared goes in the top left. I really am adding plus, and I can do this in a different color, I'm really adding plus 0y. So 0y goes here, 0y goes here, and I can do the sides now. My sides are going to be y and y. What times y is 0y? Or it's really just 0. I don't know why I'm putting the y there. It's 0 and 0. It's y plus 0, y plus 0. 0 times 0, I'm adding 0 to both sides. So plus 0, plus 0. I've now completed the square on both sides. Again, just take the side length, and that is your square. The side length is x minus 4 quantity squared. My side length was just y. Y plus 0 is just y, so y squared. I've now completed those squares, and now I have to add up all the right-hand side. 84 plus 16 plus 0 is 100. Now I have to find the center and the radius. The center is going to be something comma something. I take the opposite of negative 4, I get a positive 4. I take the opposite of 0, and it's 0. So the center is 4 comma 0. And finally, the radius. The radius is going to be the square root of 100. The square root of 100 is 10. The radius is 10. That is our final answer. Box it. Whoa. All right. Anyone have questions on this lesson?
Why'd you do that so fast?
I did so fast because most people have this done already. Were you not able to follow it because I went too fast?
No, I mean this problem was just shorter in general.
It was shorter because of our y squared problem, but generally once you get the hang of these, they go pretty fast. And I will give you the hint now. If you know how to complete the square really well, you don't actually have to complete the square to find the center or the radius. When I do these problems, it takes me about 10 seconds because I don't actually complete the square in my head. So for those of you that think you're really advanced at completing the square, try doing it in your head and skipping to the center and skipping to the radius. That'll be the last hint that I give you.